स्टार्ट करिए।
सर क्वेश्चन रिपीट करिएगा।
क्वेश्चन आपके सामने है बेटा। क्वेश्चन
सर ये बुक से क्वेश्चन लिया आपने?
जी ये मेरी बुक है, ये वो वाली बुक है जो कि मैंने आपको देनी है। मंडे को सब अपने साथ पैसे लेके आए 2000 रुपीज, जो कि बुक आपको देनी है, पास पेपर्स की बुक है ये। अच्छा देखें जी, तो कहते हैं जी जॉर्ज इज ए ट्रेडर हु बायज एंड सेल्स गुड्स ऑन क्रेडिट, ही प्रोवाइडेड द फॉलोइंग इन्फॉर्मेशन। 2010 का डाटा दिया हुआ है और 2011 का डाटा भी दिया हुआ है। सेल्स दी हुई है, ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट दिया हुआ है, एक्सपेंसेस दिए हुए हैं, इन्वेंट्री है, कैपिटल है, बैंक है, ट्रेड रिसीवेबल है, ट्रेड पेबल्स हैं, परसेंटेज ऑफ नेट प्रॉफिट टू सेल्स, परसेंटेज ऑफ नेट प्रॉफिट टू कैपिटल, वर्किंग कैपिटल रेशियो या करंट रेशियो और क्विक रेशियो हमने फाइंड करनी है। देखते हैं सबसे पहले हमने क्या निकालना है, कैलकुलेट द फॉलोइंग टू 1 डेसिमल प्लेस, परसेंटेज ऑफ नेट प्रॉफिट ओवर सेल्स कहता है आपने फाइंड करनी है। तो मैं निकालता हूं, हमने क्या निकालनी है जी, नेट प्रॉफिट रेशियो। नेट प्रॉफिट रेशियो का बेटा फॉर्मूला होता है हमारा, फॉर्मूला क्या है जी, नेट प्रॉफिट डिवाइडेड बाय सेल्स मल्टीप्लाइड बाय 100। चलते हैं क्वेश्चन पे सो दैट वी कैन सी। हमने 2010 की निकालनी नेट प्रॉफिट टू सेल्स, तो दोस्तों 2010 का देखें नेट प्रॉफिट कितना है वो हमें नहीं पता, वो हम निकाल लेंगे कैसे, ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट में से एक्सपेंसेस माइनस करेंगे तो आपके पास नेट प्रॉफिट आ जाएगा। आई रिपीट अगेन, ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट में से एक्सपेंसेस माइनस करेंगे तो आपके पास नेट प्रॉफिट आ जाएगा, यानी 1,10,000 माइनस 66,000, 1,10,000 माइनस 66,000 आपका आ जाएगा नेट प्रॉफिट। नेट प्रॉफिट कितना आ जाएगा आपका, 1,10,000 minus 66,000, you will get your net profit। कैलकुलेटर के देखते हैं, 44,000 is your net profit। आपकी सेल्स की अमाउंट कितनी है, सेल्स है आपकी 2,20,000 multiplied by 100, this is going to give you the answer। So the answer is going to be 44,000 divided by 2,20,000 into 100. 20% is the answer. So 20% is your answer of net profit ratio. It shows that your net profit, your profit is going to be 20% of sales. So how you are able to control your expenses, your ability to control your expenses, it tells your ability to control your expenses. 80% is your expenses and 20% out of sales is your profit. So it tells your efficiency of the business, how efficient your business is.
सर
जी
सर जी जो 44,000 आया था, ये 22,000 कहाँ से आया है?
2,20,000 देखें सवाल में, वापस चलते हैं हम। देखें 2,20,000 is the amount of sales, gross profit
ओके
expenses is your net profit, net profit over sales into 100 is the formula which we have derived, and 20% is the answer. Okay,
ओके
next formula ji, next formula which we are going to solve is percentage of net profit over capital for the year ended 30th April 2010। 2010 के लिए हमने फार्मूला लगाना है net profit over capital। तो let's write the formula first। The formula is net profit divided by capital multiplied by 100। So we can easily calculate our net profit is 44,000 because we have already calculated it in the previous formula, and our capital for 2010, सिकंदर कितना है कैपिटल 2010 का?
सर कैपिटल है 1,60,000।
1,60,000। We will divide 44,000 with 1,60,000 multiplied by 100. That is going to give you the answer of this
7.5
question. जी
सर 27.5
yes, 27.5% is your answer. Okay, that's good. Next चलते हैं जी, मेरा ख्याल है आप साथ साथ लिख रहे हैं, यू आर राइटिंग ऑब्वियसली.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
नेक्स्ट फार्मूला विच वी आर गोइंग टू सॉल्व, ये दो हमने कर ली हैं, फर्स्ट टू इज डन. नेक्स्ट सजेस्ट टू पॉसिबल रीजंस फॉर द चेंज इन नेट प्रॉफिट बिटवीन द 2 years. देखें दोनों सालों में नेट प्रॉफिट रेशियो में चेंज क्यों है, हम देखते हैं. पहले साल में हमारा नेट प्रॉफिट कितना है 44,000, जबकि सेकेंड ईयर में हमारा नेट प्रॉफिट कितना है 5%. So it means that you are able to control your expenses in a better way in 2010. Because in 2010, your net profit is 20%, but in 2011, your net profit is 5%. So you are able to control your expenses in a better way. And second reason is that maybe you are able, your cost of sales is less than in comparison to sales. You have less cost of sales in comparison to 2011. Or you are able to purchase raw material at a cheaper rate. You are able to purchase raw material at a cheaper rate in 2010. That's why your gross profit was higher, and that will lead to higher net profit. So either you are able to control your expenses or your gross profit is more in case of 2010. Next is suggest two possible reasons for the change in the bank balance in the year ended 30th April 2011. Let's see bank balance हमारा कितना है. Bank balance हमारा overdraft है. But in 2011, this overdraft has converted into 15,000 cash. Maybe the owner has put more investment in the business. Maybe he has taken long-term loan from the bank. Maybe he has collected the trade receipt.
Sir, question repeat करिएगा.
Question ये है कि how the bank overdraft bank has been changed from 2010 to 2011.
Okay.
2010 में ओवर अब हमारा बैंक बैलेंस पॉजिटिव हो गया. उसकी वजह ये हो सकती है यान that maybe you are able, you have sell your non-current assets which has increased your bank position. You have sell non-current assets which has increased your bank position, or maybe the owner has invested more into the business. Maybe the owner has invested more into the business, which will lead to increase the amount of capital.
ठीक है सर.
Right. Next देखते हैं जी. Next क्या पूछता है हमारा इस क्वेश्चन में आगे. Next कह रहे हैं जी हमें कैलकुलेट. सॉरी, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. अच्छा बस यही क्वेश्चंस हैं, लेकिन हम खुद कैलकुलेट करते हैं. इसमें ये आ गया वर्किंग कैपिटल रेशियो एंड करंट रेशियो 3 and 4. वो मिस कर गया था मैं जल्दी में. कैलकुलेट करते हैं वर्किंग कैपिटल रेशियो और करंट रेशियो, क्विक रेशियो. तो हम दोनों कैलकुलेट करते हैं. पहले हम क्वेश्चन पे चलते हैं वापस. जी चलें जी. वर्किंग कैपिटल रेशियो 2011 के लिए हमने निकालनी है. द फार्मूला फॉर वर्किंग कैपिटल रेशियो इज, वर्किंग कैपिटल रेशियो मींस करंट रेशियो. Yesterday we have studied that the formula for working capital ratio is current assets divided by current liabilities. Divided by current liabilities, right? So let's put
Yes,
the values in this. Current assets in 2011 are inventory, bank and trade receivable. I repeat again, current assets in 2011 are inventory, bank and trade receivable. Yani 35,000 plus 15,000 plus 40,000 is your current asset in 2011, which is 90,000. And your trade payables are, or current liabilities are 60,000. So I will write 90,000 divided by 60,000. I will get my answer. So 90,000 divided by 60,000 is equal to 1.5 ratio 1. इसको इस तरह लिखते हैं हम. यानी your current assets are 1.5 times your current liabilities.
ठीक है सर.
बेस्ट रेशियो क्या होती है? बेस्ट रेशियो होती है 2:1. इट इज नॉट वेरी गुड बट इट इज नॉट वेरी बैड ऑल्सो. पर आप देखते हैं current assets divided by current liabilities. Current assets are 35,000 plus 15,000 plus 40,000 becomes 90,000 are your current assets divided by current liabilities, which are 60,000. So 1.5:1 is your answer. Next formula which we are supposed to solve is quick ratio or acid test ratio, or you may say quick ratio or acid test ratio, or you may say quick ratio के अलावा acid test ratio और liquid ratio. इसका फॉर्मूला क्या होता है? Current assets minus closing inventory divided by current liabilities. Current assets minus closing inventory whole divided by current liabilities. फॉर्मूले में वैल्यूज पुट करते हैं. Current assets we have already calculated, that is 90,000. What is the amount of closing inventory? If we just look at the question, the amount of closing inventory for 2011 we are going for 35,000. So 35,000 is the amount of closing inventory whole divided by current liabilities, which we have already calculated, and they are 60,000. So the answer to this question is
89,999.
no. 90,000 minus 35,000, 55,000 divided by 60,000. So answer is 0.92, 0.92:1. 0.92:1. It shows that your liquid assets is 0.92 in comparison to your current liabilities. That is a good ratio also, because the best ratio is 1:1. So it is not bad. आगे नेक्स्ट देखते हैं जी. नेक्स्ट देखते हैं क्वेश्चन में हमें और क्या मांगता है. वर्किंग कैपिटल रेशियो, ये भी हमने बैंक बैलेंस का भी बता दिया. सो दैट विल एंड अवर क्वेश्चन. वी हैव डन द क्वेश्चन. नाउ लेट्स मूव टुवर्ड्स द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. क्वेश्चन नंबर 18 which is May June 11 22 7110 का क्वेश्चन है. So Mary is in business buying and selling goods on credit. The following information was available at 30th April 2011. Inventory on 1st May 2010, opening inventory is 5,500. Closing inventory 30th April 2011 is 7,500. Capital is 75,000. Operating expenses are given in the question 23500. Purchases are 72,000 and markup is 50%. So let's talk about markup first. That what is markup? Let me check. Let me show you that what is basically our markup. So markup is basically equal to, it is gross profit percentage on cost. So markup is a gross profit percentage on cost, or you can say that markup is gross profit divided by cost multiplied by 100. You may say like that also. So markup is basically a profit percentage, gross profit percentage on cost. But in the question, the cost is not given. So first of all, we need to find the cost of sales. So let's find the cost of sales. As we know that cost of sales is equal to opening inventory. Cost of sales is equal to opening inventory plus purchases minus
सर ये
inventory. Yes.
हम रेवेन्यू सेल्स कर रहे हैं ना?
नहीं, रेवेन्यू नहीं निकाल रहे हैं हम, पहले कॉस्ट ऑफ सेल्स निकाल रहे हैं.
ओके.
Opening inventory is given in the question, that is 5,500 plus purchases are given in the question, that is 72,000 minus closing inventory is given in the question, that is 7,500. So the cost of sales, the answer of cost of sales is 70,000. So 70,000 is our cost of sales. And as discussed with you earlier, that gross profit, which is given in the question, is a markup 50%. So it shows that gross profit is 50% of cost of sales. Markup is gross profit percentage on cost of sales. Gross profit means that 70,000, 50% is basically our gross profit. So it means that our gross profit is 35,000. So you can find sales now easily, because sales is equal to cost of sales, which we have already calculated, plus gross profit. So the cost of sales, which we have calculated, is 70,000, and we will add our gross profit into that to find the amount of sales which is required in the question, and that is 1,05,000. So first you need to calculate cost of sales so that you can find gross profit by multiplying cost of sales with markup, which is 50%. So cost of sales का 50% gross profit है, which resulted in 35,000, and sales is equal to cost of sales plus gross profit. So cost of sales we have already calculated, opening inventory plus purchases minus closing, that is 70,000, plus gross profit, which is 50% of cost of sales, that is 35,000. So the sales figure which is required in the question, like named revenue, is 1,05,000. Any problem?
सर
जी.
सर ये 50% कहाँ से आया?
Markup is equal to 50%. And what is markup? Markup is a gross profit percentage on cost of sales. So from here, we have derived cost of sales first, and cost of sales ka 50% is our gross profit, because markup is basically gross profit on cost of sales. So from there we have found, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay, please write it down because I will go further, so I have to rub it up.
Sir, I have right.
Ji Ayan, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, next. All clear का बटन किधर है? Stamp, draw. All clear नहीं है? ये है. Okay. So let's move further. Yes. Next is rate of inventory turnover we need to calculate. So let's talk about inventory turnover ratio. The formula for inventory turnover ratio is, for the next question, inventory turnover ratio. Formula for inventory turnover ratio is equal to cost of sales divided by average inventory. Cost of sales we have already calculated, and that is 70,000 divided by average inventory. Average inventory is not given in the question. We need to find the average inventory, and average inventory is equal to opening inventory plus closing inventory divided by 2. So opening inventory in the question is 5,500 plus closing inventory is 7,500 divided by 2. You will get the amount of average inventory. That is 6,500. Sir, how you have calculated? Let's go back on the question. Average inventory is opening inventory here, 5,500 plus 7,500 divided by 2. Opening inventory plus closing inventory divided by 2. So 6,500 is your average inventory, And the formula for inventory turnover ratio is cost of sales divided by average inventory, which is 6,500. So we can calculate easily now. 70,000 divided by 6,500, 10.8 times is the answer. 10.8 times. We will write the answer in times. It shows that you are able to sell your inventory 10 times in a year. It tells that you are able to convert your inventory into sales 10.8 times in a year. You are able to sell your stock and you become out of stock 10 times in a year. So that is a good ratio in comparison to if we talk about the. This is how we have found the ratios. We have solved the questions. We have solved net profit ratio, gross profit ratio. We have gone for calculating working capital current ratio, quick ratio, and now we are solving inventory turnover ratio. Let's move forward from the second part. Next is profit for the year. You need to find profit for the year. Let's talk about profit for the year now. Let me solve the question. Let me go for the percentage of net profit. Net profit to revenue. जी, revenue निकाल लिया आपने. Inventory turnover ratio, profit for the year, then percentage of net profit to sales and percentage of net profit to capital. ये दो चीजें भी निकालेंगे. सबसे पहले profit निकालते हैं. As we know that we have already calculated gross profit, and we know that gross profit which we have calculated in this question is how much? It is 50% of cost of sales. So the gross profit is 35,000. We have calculated. If we saw net profit, we can calculate net profit or profit for the year easily. How come? Net profit is equal to gross profit. We know that gross profit minus expenses, minus operating expenses, right? So I can write gross profit is 35,000. And let's see how many expenses are there which are given in the question. Expenses are given, operating expenses are the same, and the expenses are 23,500. I will subtract 23,500 from gross profit to find net profit. Yes.
Sir, I want to ask that the gross profit minus expenses है ना लिखा आपने?
Yes. Gross profit minus expenses is your net profit. So 35,000 is your gross profit, and expenses are 11,000 or 23,500. So we can easily find our net profit, which is 11,500. Yes.
सर आपने हमें फॉर्मूला लिखवाया है नेट प्रॉफिट इज इक्वल टू सेल्स माइनस कॉस्ट ऑफ सेल्स माइनस ऑपरेटिंग एक्सपेंस.
If you want to go for the whole formula, you don't have sales given in the question. Otherwise, you have to find sales first. So there is no reason to find sales, because when gross profit is given, it comes after sales. So we can easily subtract expenses from gross profit to find net profit. We don't need to go from the start.
अच्छा सर आप कह रहे हैं कि sales and cost of sales are equal to gross profit.
Sales minus cost of sales is equal to gross profit, and when we have gross profit already with us, we can subtract expenses to find net profit.
Okay sir.
Next ratio which is given in the question, which he asked us to prepare, is net profit to sales ratio. Profit over sales multiplied by 100. Now I need to find sales also. So I can find profit is already given, that is 11,500. Divided by sales. Sales is 1,05,000 because we have calculated it in at the early stage. Multiplied by 100, you will get the answer of profit over sales, which is the answer is going to be It's 10.95%. If you just go for the first part of this same question, we have found basically sales. Just go back and see that we have found sales, which I rub it up at the start. The point number 1, we have found cost of sales. Then we have applied markup on cost of sales to find gross profit. And then I have added gross profit into cost of sales to find the amount of sales. The same sales I have used in this formula. Profit, which is calculated already 11,500 divided by sales from the first part into 100 is our answer. Now the next formula which he want us to prepare is gross profit over capital into 100. Profit is given 11,500. Capital, let's see, either it is given in the question. Yes, it is given in the question. Capital is given in the question. It is 75,000. So what I will do, 11,500 divided by 75,000 and multiplied by 100, I will get the answer of profit over capital easily. So let's talk about it. 11,500 divided by 75,000 into 100. The answer is 15.33%. So this is how I have solved 2 questions in front of you. In one of the questions, we have gone for net profit ratio, working capital ratio, and quick ratio. And in other questions, we have gone for inventory turnover ratio, in which we have to find average inventory first. We have found sales, and then we have found net profit to find profit over sales into 100, net profit ratio, and profit over capital ratio. This is how we are able to solve this question. And I hope that you are able to handle this chapter very easily. It is not going to be one of the most difficult chapters of your course. It is just required that you need to memorize the formulas for the ratios. And if you have an idea about the ratios, you are able to handle it in a most appropriate way. So let's go back to the question. And I want you to do some questions at home. And the last part of this question, B and C, I will do for you, but after solving some more questions for you, then we will go for this particular setup, this particular working. So I want you to solve the previous questions. You need to take the pick because this book is not currently with you. Neither Ayan, you are having this book because this is from O levels, or nor Iskandar, you are having this book. So I'm going to give the questions. This is the question. You can take the pick now. You can take the picture of this question, which you are supposed to solve at home. And whatever you are going to find from this question, that is current ratio, then current ratio at 30th September 2010 for both years. Then you will find quick ratio for both years. So that is the question is all about. You will find current ratio for both years, and you will find for both years.
सर बस एक ही क्वेश्चन है.
नहीं मैं दे रहा हूं अभी नेक्स्ट. ये हो गया. अब इसके बाद ये आपने रिकॉर्ड कर लिया है. So this is the question. You can take the pick of this question also. Although it is going to be a difficult one, but you can give it a try at least. Otherwise, I will be able to make you solve this question, but you can give it a try. But how you will apply the formulas for this question, it is going to be a difficult one. And then we will solve more questions, inshallah ta'ala, in the upcoming next lectures. Just to give you an idea of this question, if you just look at this question, gross profit is given. So you will multiply the sales with 40%. You will find your gross profit. That is 1 lakh. If gross profit is 1 lakh, then your cost of sales is going to be 2,50,000 minus 1 lakh sales minus, so 1,50,000 is your cost of sales. Raw material purchases, opening inventory is given and closing inventory is also given. So you can find the raw material purchases because you know that cost of sales is equal to opening inventory plus purchases minus closing inventory. So if you put the formula, you put the values into this because you know the cost of sales already, which is 1,50,000. Opening inventory is 10,000. Purchases, I don't know. Minus closing inventory is 25,000. So by solving this equation through math, you can easily get amount of purchases. Then expenses, as you got earlier, that if you subtract gross profit, expenses, how you are going to find? That is gross profit minus net profit, you will get your expenses. So gross profit you have calculated, that is 1 lakh, minus net profit is 8% of sales. If you just calculate 8% of sales, sales is 2,50,000. And 8% of sales is 20,000. The expenses are basically 80,000 are the expenses. Then you can find inventory turnover ratio also easily because you know that the inventory turnover ratio, the formula is cost of sales divided by average inventory. Cost of sales is 1,50,000 and average inventory is opening inventory plus closing inventory divided by 2. So 10,000 plus 25,000 divided by 2 is your average inventory, which is 17,500. So you can find the average, the answer for this 1,50,000 divided by 17,500, 8.57 times is your answer of inventory turnover ratio. I have calculated the whole question in front of you regarding this. First of all, in order to calculate cost of sales, we know that gross profit is a percentage of sales, which is 40%. So I have calculated 40% of revenue, which is sales. I got the gross, which is 1 lakh. Then I subtracted gross profit from sales to find cost of sales, which comes 1,50,000. We know that cost of sales is equal to opening inventory plus purchases minus closing inventory. I have put the values in this formula. Cost of sale is 1,50,000. Opening inventory is 10,000 given in the question. Closing inventory is 25,000. We can find the amount of purchases easily. If you just wanted that, I'll do that in front of you. Purchases is equal to 1,50,000 plus 10,000 plus 25,000. So the amount of purchases is going to be how much? It is going to be 1,65,000. I have calculated purchases also. Now I have to go for expenses. Before going to expenses, I want you to solve inventory turnover ratio. The formula for inventory turnover ratio is cost of sales divided by average inventory. Cost of sales is 1,50,000. Average inventory is opening inventory plus closing inventory divided by 2. So you can find average inventory easily. Why? Because we know that opening inventory is given in the question 10,000 weight plus 25,000 divided by 2. You can find the average inventory, which is 17,500. So 8.57 times is your inventory turnover ratio. Now, how we have found expenses? Gross profit में से net profit minus कर देंगे तो आपके expenses आ जाएंगे. 1 lakh is your gross profit here, and your profit is 8% of sales. Means your net profit is 8% of sales. Your net profit is 2,50,000. 8% is your net profit, which comes 20,000. वो subtract कर देंगे आप 1 लाख में से net profit, तो आपके expenses आ जाएंगे 80,000. D please. Any जी हाँ, सिकंदर, you can ask now.
सर ये AI का क्या मतलब?
Average inventory. Average inventory कैसे निकालते हैं? Opening inventory plus closing inventory divide by 2. AI is average inventory.
सर और इसका फॉर्मूला क्या था? आप अभी बोल रहे थे।
Average inventory का फॉर्मूला है जी opening inventory plus closing inventory divided by 2.
ओके सर।
So this is how we are able to solve this question. I have solved 3 questions in front of you. And as you know that we are going to have online classes from now onwards. Password and ID will be the same. Time for your classes will be the same. So inshallah ta'ala, see you on Monday online on the same channel with the same link. So please inform
सर बस
also to come online, because the next week will be online as the schools and maybe the academy is also going to be closed. Got it? Any question?
No, sir.
Okay. Ayan, you need to solve the past papers. As I discussed with you, continue doing that. You are doing good, but you need to solve more and more. Okay. Thank you very much. Take good care of yourself and your family. Have a nice day. Allah
अल्लाह हाफिज सर।
Hafiz. You can have the recording of the meeting. I have the recording also. Allah Hafiz.